Hey, it's Wendy, and this is the week 4 discussion question. Medtronic in China, and this is about one of their pacemakers. I actually am familiar with Medtronic because they make my ventilators that I use at work all the time. We just actually received 40 new ones. It's been an interesting week. We've got them all launched, and today we were getting them out to everyone. So it's been fun. For this, the points of difference would be this is a low cost pacemaker that they're looking to get out to China, to the Chinese population. Pacemakers are expensive. They have all kinds of bells and whistles. They can be dual chambered. They can incorporate a defibrillator. They can look to pace somebody out of an arrhythmia. This pacemaker is just intended to be a simple keep your heart rate between the set target that it has on it. It's just a workhorse, which is what they were looking to do. They have the support of the Chinese physicians who wanted to be able to get a product to their patients to meet their need that was affordable, which was really important to them. The market attractiveness, as far as for Medtronic, they have very small sales in China right now. Grow that market. There's 1.3 billion people in China, and the opportunity to be able to get into that market is very interesting to Medtronic. That's a huge population where there's currently only a small number of people getting pacemakers, but the need is there. It's just not being met. Their physicians want to be able to help their patients, and with the middle class having an average of $2,000 of disposable income, $1,000 price point on a pacemaker is something that looks like it would be attainable for those people and be able to help them out. Bad timing. You really need to be able to look at that champion pacemaker and get it down to that $1,000 price point. If you can't do that, this product wouldn't be successful. You need to be able to train the cardiac interventionalist who's going to implant it. Means you got to get people who are already familiar with it over to either China to train them, or get the Chinese physicians to a facility where they can train in order to do this. That's another, right now, if we were looking at this today, travel is a huge challenge. So it presents its own set of problems. You have to build the factory where the pacemakers are going to be made. You need to look at the sales force who's actually going to, get these sold to the providers. When you look at the economic access to the doctors and the patients, once we've identified that we have a place to build them and we have people to sell them and we've trained people to be able to implant them, if we can't distribute them to the hospitals, we haven't done anything to be able to help the Chinese people, or Medtronic even, to be able to grow their market share. So logistics is going to be extremely important. Got to meet that target price. That $1,000 price point is what's really attractive to the physicians, because they know this is something that many of their patients would be able to afford. Along with that would be forming their relationships with the providers and gaining their trust and showing them that Medtronic is there to benefit both them and their patients. For the second question, I took this chart literally out of our book from page 283. And if you look at, the new product development, the new product strategy and development, along with idea generation, really that's, the creation of the basic pacemaker at a price point of $1,000. The screening and evaluation, this involved the physicians telling them that, here are the things that we need from the champion pacemaker that Medtronic is having them look at. They paired all that together, looked at it, and then, Medtronic looks at a business analysis, decides what they can work on, what they'd be able to do with that, takes all the ideas and puts it into a development, creates what the new pacemaker is going to be. Once they had that, do market testing, make sure that the product is going to meet what their original intent was, that we can get it to the areas that we wanted it to be delivered to. And then finally, once all of that was done, commercialization is, we've got the product created, it's made, we've figured out all the logistics, we've got, delivery ready to go, and we are getting it to the hospitals and getting it to the public to be sold. So for question 3, it was, how can a company encourage its employees to take the initiative, make a profit, be ethically and socially fiscally responsible. The biggest thing is always leading by example. Anytime a company takes an interest in something and can show their employees that this is the right thing to do, it goes a long way. People want to see what the leadership wants to do and wants to know that their company stands for something good. Medtronic wants to grow the business, but they also want to help people. So on one end, Medtronic makes some very complicated devices that can do a lot of things. But if you look at this on the opposite side, they also want to care for people. And it's at, both ends of the spectrum that you can make these things meet. And the company as a whole is able to be successful and it supports people. It's also important to look and see that your company is giving back to the communities that support them. People like to know that you aren't just there to make a profit from them. They want to know that you're there to support them in good times and bad, and they're going to help you do that along the way. The fourth question was to contribute, or this is actually, Medtronic's mission statement. Their mission statement is to contribute to the human welfare by application of biomedical engineering in the research, design, manufacture, and sale of instruments or appliances that alleviate pain, restore health, and extend life. So for shareholders of Medtronic, stock market growth and opportunity. So you get the chance to be able to get into a whole new market, and that's going to help financial gains for the company. That's good for everybody. As far as for Medtronic employees, it's job security. It also opens up new opportunities for them. Every time they get into a new market, it's a chance for people if they'd like to work in another country, if they'd like to seek a different opportunity. And it also just helps the company every time it's successful to remain viable. And currently, a lot of people are struggling to find work, and knowing that your company can do that is a positive thing. And then for the Chinese patients, this is bringing a life-saving device to them at an affordable price, and being able to do that. I know if that were, my mother or father, and it was the difference between them not being able to have a pacemaker and being able to have one, that would be huge, because it would keep my loved one here with me longer and have quality of life. So for the fifth question, strengths and weaknesses of the marketing viewpoint. The strengths identified with the target audience, the middle class patients. You have this middle class with, we know that they have on average about $2,000 of disposable income. You can look out to be able to target them and know that that's probably a good place to start with. But on the flip side of that, a weakness is this is a new market, and you're going to have to build from the bottom up. We're starting from scratch, and there's very little that Medtronic has been able to do for pacemakers in China. And then strengths and weaknesses from an ethical viewpoint. Strength is that, they are creating a quality, low-cost product that addresses an important need. They get to extend the lives of people who otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity. We wouldn't be having that quality of life because they need a simple pacemaker, something the size of $50 that regulates your heart rhythm. The weakness, I believed, is does it do enough to address the majority of the needs? The $1,000 price point hits that middle class, but what does it do for the people that don't have that $2,000 of disposable income? Is it doing enough to address that? Is there something else that can be done to help with that as they move forward? So I think that would be more of something that Medtronic could look at as they move forward and as they grow. So thank you for listening to the video, and have a great week.